Hello, everybody. My name's Milan Starcic. Welcome to Freedom Rising, a podcast dedicated to empowering individuals on the journey to personal growth, lasting serenity, and freedom from addiction. Tune in and join the movement. Your journey to freedom starts here. We neither represent, promote, or demote any 12-step program or organization. We are merely souls on the path of recovery with the desire to expand our lives and experiences and share them with you. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the 208th Recovery Freedom Rising podcast. I'm Milan Starcic with my long-lost co-host Shannon B. That's right. Today's topic is wearing masks. And, I just had the privilege of having some fun conversation with Shannon before we got going here. I think we're going to be having a wonderful little quick tidbit of a breakfast program today. So would you like to say what wearing masks means to you, Shannon, and why you were ecstatic to cartwheel into action here today?
Backhand spring into this breakfast podcast.
Quarter spring?
Yeah. Yeah, like I'd heard the term before, of course, like wearing masks, right? But I didn't really understand, like I never gave much thought of it, I should say, or thought about, does that apply to me or my life? And when I had first went back out after, having quite a bit of sobriety, it spoke to somebody in the program and they shared with me this mask work that they had done. And then we also did some work on that when we were in treatment together, Milan. And it was really eye-opening, right? Like putting on that facade. So you show up or hope that people are going to see you as you're trying to present yourself and not how you're actually feeling inside. And that gets exhausting. I think I've shared before in this podcast, like I remember myself, just trying to suit up and show up when I was so depressed, so anxious, feeling overwhelmed, really struggling with drinking, that I'd be like, okay, playing the part of Shannon today is now go. It was like those old soaps that I grew up watching when I was younger, where they'd swap out a main character for like a guest actor, and it would say like playing the part of Jason today on General Hospital is. And I would hear that voice in my head because I was like, I gotta go put it on. And don't get me wrong, there are still times today where, you know, I need to regulate. I'm emotionally regulate. I'm not going to, show up in business professional situations like, oh gosh, I didn't sleep last night, or I'm really struggling with anxiety, or this is going on in my life, because it's not the time or place, right? Or the person to be speaking with. But I'm no longer living that double life where I just have to present a certain way, but I'm sick, sad, and spiritually bankrupt. And that is a very freeing, nice way to live. I feel authentic, genuine, honoring myself, giving myself grace. And it's not like a double life. Like that double life is what keeps us so sick. And I did that. I always say that shut a door, crack a window theory. Nah, I can't do that in my life. It can't even be, I don't really drink. Or, no, I rarely drink, or I used to, but I don't, I don't now for health reasons, or like whatever type of BS I'm trying to feed myself. 'Cause that's how I got right back into addiction, right? Is those tiny little lies, those little masks, those little fallacies that weren't who I truly was.
I love that.
Also, we live in a world today that with social media and online presence that can be so disingenuous, and you hear it like that comparison is the thief of joy,
Steals it every time.
all girlfriends of mine, or like, moms I know that are like, oh, and I like look online and it looks like she has it all together. And it's like, yeah, but you don't see the background. And I, it's not a judgment, but I've been guilty of it. I've seen others be guilty of it. Things aren't going well for them, but they presented online happy, perfect family, everything's great.
Mhm.
But if you keep showing up like that and build that wall, you'll never really let people know who you are. There's no humility in that. And where do you then build on strength to ask for help? Like you're not vulnerable. And I need to be all of those things today.
Woo, that was a sizzler of an intro there, Shannon.
Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle.
You
Bacon
know,
in the pan.
that's right. Bacon in the pan, just pouring some water in there for extra sizzle. Um, so, you know, this one, this one kind of takes me back to options in my mind. But even before that, just in my relationship with Michelle, she used to tell me, she's like, I can tell who's calling you by the voice you put on when you answer the phone. And it was like I would have she could literally identify which person it was, and so I obviously been wearing masks my whole life. I think you know a lot of it has been for selfish, self-seeking reasons. For me to end up better in a situation, but they're also like, I'm kind of like, I just did my third step five this week, kind of went back deep on some of my beliefs and that. And in looking at that, I also just listened to that book, In the Realm of the Hungry Ghosts by Gabor Mate, which, really revealed to me a lot of the effects of trauma as a child. And I would say that there was a lot of masks and roles that I developed so that I didn't get the shit kicked out of me, or so that I had got less shit kicked out of me, or so that I became the bully so that there would be none like of that,
Mm.
and so it comes as a way of self-protection sometimes. And with that level of self-protection, though, one of the things I'm, learning here in my life and my journey about surrender and loving completely is, every time I close my heart, even if I think I'm protecting it, my heart is less open. And so not only do I achieve less of a state of love, but, I'm able to share less love, like these masks distort your perception of me, but they
Mhm.
also distort my reaction to you, like when I'm wearing that mask, you never get to know me. You get to know what I perceive as what you want from me, or what I perceive will create the greatest situation for Milan. And and that just isn't a true reflection. Like that definitely, it definitely offers no surrender. Like I'm not surrendering to acceptance of myself or of you. And I'm never getting to know you because I'm never letting you see me. Like who you're reacting to isn't even the authentic me. And then what happens then? I never see the authentic you. Like we're playing this game of like pretendy, like pseudo Shannon and pseudo Milan. And if we're not being real, we're like loving pretenses, not people. And that's just
Mhm.
such an unauthentic way. And so, you know, um, in the journey that I'm on right now, it's about trying to forgive myself and love myself and accepting my flaws, but also accepting your flaws without judgment. Like I've always said, and I still stand by this: your friends and lovers are the people whose flaws you accept. And so, but let's take it one step further, and it's just that the people that you can be yourself in front of,
Mm,
and hopefully that that the only way it comes about is with honesty and humility, right? Like, and courage, right? Like, if I'm not honest with myself and have the humility to see who I really am and have the courage to show that to you, I'm never going to take off the mask. Whoa.
I love what you just shared.
And
So true,
and
right? Like the courage to be who you genuinely are, show up the way that God wants you to, right? To have
mhm.
that true connection. As soon as we start acting, it's like a cutoff from God showing us the way and
Yeah.
helping us connect with self. And
And
truly, like mass, like character defects, some of it was out of necessity, can't
yeah.
show I'm weak, gotta, be strong, gotta be this person, gotta be that person. And that can stem from childhood trauma or, having to grow up too fast or the, roles or the responsibilities that were placed on you in younger years that should have been that of a parent.
Mm.
And I don't know who said it to me first or whatnot, but well, I do remember Susie saying to me in treatment, like I said, I'm so tired of this resilience. And she's like, yeah, you're exhausted from having to be resilient. It's not a superpower. It's like, and I said, exactly. And I watch myself too. I don't say it often anymore because I just got really real sorry about how it, like what it enforces in you when someone says, "Oh, you're so strong." It's
Mhm.
like, well, what was the alternative? I was,
You're so vulnerable. You're so
but
weak.
like, I just said, "Oh, I can't deal with this," and
Mm.
cashed out a life. Like,
Mm.
that's what fueled a lot of my addiction. But that was being so suppressed and thinking that when someone says, people, we're taught to believe that when someone says, "Oh, you're so strong," like that's a good thing. And I'm not
Mm.
saying like to be weak or to, anytime anybody says or does anything, it so directly affects you that like you're breaking down and you're in a victim mode. But with trauma and stuff too, and especially like our generation, we didn't grow up the way things are now. Like that, I know I'm going to go off on a tear here, but that whole Me Too movement came in the generation after me. It
Mm.
wasn't for women like me when the way I grew up. Like you
Mhm.
spoke up on something like that, you'd lose a job. You were so, fearful. People wouldn't believe you. So many, victims of sexual assault and everything don't come forward because they're prosecuted basically and
Mm.
interrogated, not prosecuted, but they're interrogated in court when it's
And
like, what?
stigmatized and everything.
Absolutely. Why do I have to prove to you what happened to me? Like my word
Yeah.
isn't enough.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that whole being strong, it's like, why? Sometimes I had to be. Have to go on with
Mm.
life,
Yeah.
Can't sit home and cry myself to sleep every day. Like, so yeah, it's great to have strength and but my strength now comes from my faith in God. It
Yeah.
doesn't come from having to muscle through it and go, okay, like, don't let this affect you. Boom, keep going so quickly and so fast, which I did my whole life, that you never
Mhm.
have to dwell or think about something too long
Yeah.
or black out drink and then move on to the next, on to the next, never stopping to process anything. That's not strength. That's running from something.
Yeah. Entirely.
Strength to me is saying, hey, I need help.
Mhm.
I need to do some work in this area. I'm going to see a professional. I'm going to acknowledge my feelings and allow myself to feel. It's not shoving it down, suppressing it, going, bring me, like, hit me with your next shot,
The
right?
true courage is facing like facing what's happened honestly, or your actions honestly, and having that courage. to
Exactly.
make the change. And there's one other thing I wanted to touch on too that you had mentioned about the social media. And one of the things for me, like every morning, I make a post that says I love you to everybody. And uh, and to me, what it is that it's not a mask. It's not a mask pretending. It is a desire to plant seeds in the world. Like I can have bad mornings just like anybody else. But the thing is that there's enough people fighting on social media. There's enough people insulting. Like, I see somebody who's like hard done by looking for a cheap rental in town. And there's like five people going, why don't you get a job here? Why don't you do, like, I don't want to be the angry worded troll. I want to be like, everybody needs some love, and and I want everybody to get one little smattering of love today, you know? And I think that, you know, um, I want to be the change I want to see.
But
Even,
that to me is, especially knowing you, that is so genuine and authentic. You want to bring and pour love, joy, and uplift
mm,
people in life in all areas, like
mm,
professionally, personally, at home with your family, all of it, even to just, the general public, right?
mm,
That's who you are. And I know that from, living together in a treatment center for 30 days and knowing you as my friend, that's how you started every morning too. It's more let me post this photo of me looking so happy, so done up,
mm,
so great,
mm,
oh, look, I'm here, oh, look, I'm there, or look at me and my family. We're all in, matching outfits. Everybody
mm,
looks happy. Like I have the best life ever. But meanwhile, behind that photo is me killing myself with drugs and alcohol, or me so depressed and so anxiety stricken that I don't want to live
mm.
anymore, right? Or that family that she posts that all the time. And yeah, you're not responsible for how other people interpret things, but really it's hell at home.
But my point is this, is that sometimes we can wear masks to actuate or actualize a different state of being for ourselves and others.
Yeah.
And that temporary posture can be like a desired state of being.
Hmm.
Like when I start to meditate, or when I started to meditate, man, I'm pretending to be silent in my mind because everything's going. And then gradually things get quieter. Like sometimes we have to pretend until something happens because practice makes perfect.
Well, it's also too having like blind faith, they say that. And I'm not, saying there's anything wrong with how
Mhm.
people so like your own social media is your choice, right? And if
Yeah.
you align with somebody, you don't have to follow them or engage or any of that. And I know there's definitely been times in my life, and they'll probably still continue to be where, maybe I'm gonna post something of a happy memory for me because I want to believe that's possible again. And there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that. But if I am portraying only one way and then, I'm using that to be judgmental of other people, or
Yeah.
I'm
Or
using
comparative.
comparative, or I'm just like keep living in this fallacy or this delusion or this fantasy and not facing what the reality is, I'm not doing well. I need to get some help. I need to get honest. I need to get real. I'm caring more about what other people think and more about likes than how God sees me or how I show up in my life, then those are very unhealthy masks that I want nothing to do with. I gotta be consistent.
Yeah.
And it's sometimes I get in negative headspace and it's like anyone out there, until the pain gets bad enough, then you shift, or, I
Mm,
know there's ways to pull myself out, but sometimes it just doesn't seem possible. And yeah, it can be just a shift in mindset, which is great, right? Because it's like, oh, now I'm in more gratitude. Gratitude keeps me out of that stinking thing,
mm, yeah.
but I want to make sure I'm showing up authentically and what aligns with my core values and
Mm,
the way that I want to walk, you know, in my faith than how I lived before.
yeah. Well, and I think one word that we haven't mentioned yet, which is essential to the reason why we shouldn't be wearing these masks, is the word integrity. And if we aren't living in with integrity, we're not living now. We're not living in the present moment. We are disconnected from our higher power. And 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 and, and for me, it's like as soon as there's two Milans happening, I am not whole. I'm not here. Why? Because I'm either trying to pretend something for a future event or I'm trying to be somebody that I'll never be again. But I'm not living here right now. And I think integrity is exactly what is lost when we're wearing masks. And I knew you were going to like that one.
It's like non-existent, right? And
Yeah.
yeah, I love that um mantra you just shared with us. And when you speak and share this stuff, it's obvious to me, how much inner peace you have and the work that you've done. Like that comes from somebody who's done meditation, who's connected with their higher power, who is getting aligned, right? And
Mm.
living an aligned life. And you do, and very inspiring. It's also another word we didn't speak on yet is
Ugh.
it's exhausting,
Oh, motherfucking yeah. Like so exhausting. So
right?
that's it. Because essentially, whether you want to call it that or not, wearing a mask is lying. And to prop up an ever expanding web of deceit is exhausting. It's like, whoa, now I gotta remember what I said.
I was just gonna say like that just you just saying that right now like brought up to me thinking of like when you don't want people to know what's really going on, right? Or you say very little, or what you do say is really not reality at all, very dishonest. And you're kind of like, okay, what did I tell? I told my employer this, I told this for like, there's so much
Hmm.
you're like trying to juggle. And for what?
Hmm.
You know? And two, like to tie into that strength that I was speaking about earlier, is, I tried so hard to be strong, to not show that, to not admit to myself, first and foremost, that my alcoholism wasn't going to go away. Was if I could only manage better. Even after I
Hmm.
knew I was an alcoholic through and through, I thought I can figure out a way to actually not be. And that is exhausting. It's strong to say, hey, I need help. I'm not well. I'm an alcoholic. This is how I need, this is what I need to do to be fully immersed in recovery and live in a different life than I've been used to. Like that takes strength. That's not weak.
Hmm.
But frick, for years, I thought it was weak to be like, oh, I can't drink or this. I'm like, get out of here with that.
Hmm.
You just gotta do things better. Meanwhile, anytime before I was prepping while drinking or before to go out drinking, it was just keep it together tonight, Shan, like only, but really what I was meaning is only pull euphoria out of this.
Yeah.
Somehow control while you're in an uncontrolled state, negative ways in which alcohol affects you.
Yeah.
What a freaking delusion.
And I just thought of something else that happened to me a few weeks ago, and like I used to be the prince of pity parties. Like
I know you said
was
this
I
so
was the
much.
pinnacle prince of pity parties. I could be so picious that you would be wrapped right into my pity party with me. I had friends that our relationship was we call each other once a week and try to out pity each other. I'm not kidding. Like I remember and now I have a hard time talking to these friends because they still want to do it. But one of the things I caught myself in was having a false pity party.
Ooh.
I ended up like somebody was pity partying over at the meeting and I came in and I started pitying and then I was like, you know what? I'm actually not even bugged by what I'm talking about now. Like I was merely entering the role of pity partying. I was wearing the mask of someone at a pity party, and I didn't even feel the pity. I didn't even have self pity about it. Like I faked self pity. Like how crazy is that? Like it was just like my instinct was like, oh, pity party, I could do that, and I jumped right in like. Didn't even check
Like
how
a
deep the pool was. Hit the bottom
second
of the pool.
instinct, right? Like an automatic, like an instinct,
Yeah,
right? That just came in like, this is second nature to me, is what I was trying to say.
yeah, and so I was wearing the false mask of a pity partier. And I caught myself, and I relinquished myself of it. Though I said, "Whoa," I said, "You know what? I somehow just falsely pity partied there. Like I step 10 myself on the moment, and what made amends in the sense of like I outed myself, but it was a very funny thing. I'm like, whoa, I'm like, I don't want to be at this pity party. Like I don't want to be here at all, and it was a weird thing. So yeah, the masks, we can still wear masks that we don't even believe in. Like even when the delusion's gone, masks can be habitual. Like how often have you been new, Shannon, and
Hmm.
like seen your mom or your sister, and all of a sudden, old Shannon comes to town, and you're like, I fucking hate old Shannon being here, but you still say old Shannon shit. Has that happened to you? Like it happens to me with my family, like where I'm like, what am I doing? Like I don't even want, like, I didn't want to say that. I don't even believe in that. But I just said it because it's my tit for tat with them on the relationship scale. Like,
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's like that.
yeah.
And old Shannon showing up saying
Oh,
old Shannon shit.
oh,
I
Shannon shit.
still will catch myself, you know, time to time being like, oh, this is what I'm gonna be doing now for this next year. Or like, and it's because I feel like I'm gonna make some sort of big change and it's external things. And I'm like, no, none of that matters if I'm not doing the work internally.
Yeah. It's,
Gosh, like said so much of my life too, being the opposite. And yeah. And like the stories we tell ourselves too, right? Like
mm,
I go into a situation with intention to be loving, caring, compassionate, patient,
mm.
non-judgmental. And then I'm like,
Yeah, like
right?
what happened?
Then my mind starts telling me stuff that I know is my disease and
Mm,
the devil, trying to cut me off spiritually and make me feel like I'm right in my thinking. But in that thinking isn't coming from a place of being of service.
mm.
It's being inconvenienced
It's
for
amazing.
something I even said yes to, like
It,
so crazy.
it's amazing how when we slip out of the mindset of service, how quickly we rationalize self-seeking actions. Like and not only that is that like almost every time I'm taking inventory of myself where I'm really discontented, I'm being selfish. Like, almost like where it's just like, if I'm there, like, I really don't like this. I'm not happy today. And then I'm like, have I even thought of one other person in the last 6 hours? You know, like it's all just like sphere of Milan. How come
And
you
if I
all,
have thought of someone, has it been negative?
or it's been, or a broken expectation? Like if I think of them, I'm like, why didn't they? I shoulda, coulda, I deserve all those things that like are definite day wreckers. I deserve. There goes
Yeah.
joy. I should, you shoulda. Shh. Expectation on happiness. Yeah. And then I'm wearing the mask of the justified little boy. That's the mask I'm wearing at that point. Like that little boy who like, I should have gone with me. Blah, 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 blah. I hate that guy. Like when that guy comes to town, I'm just like, can I leave him here with you for a few hours and go actually be adult Milan? You know,
Yeah. And then you like the way your thinking is, you feel like gross out, mostly hungover after this stuff,
icky,
right?
icky.
Icky. Or you like convince yourself like, this isn't, why did
Mhm.
I say yes to this? And then, resentment. And then once you, arrive at the experience or wherever the person you're spending time with or whatnot, and it's great, you're like, why did I ever feel that way? But
Yeah,
when your toxic mind exits the chat in the healthy one,
yeah,
you know, um, responds instead, it's like, oh, and then I'll feel guilt, right? Because I'm not being who I want. I'm not showing up the way I want to be. But staying in my head, no good when that toxic thing,
yeah.
sick thinking happens.
Yeah, I will generally call somebody I know that's lonely to
Oh,
get
yeah.
out of my brain. One of my acts of service that I did come to from my two-way prayer in the morning is call the lonely. There's people that I know are lonely, new in the program, that I won't call every day. I don't have the energy every day, but it's just like when I know that I need to get out of myself, then I'm like, I will reach out, and and it's so crazy how the timing of that generally is at a moment where somebody really needs it, you know?
That's a great thing. You talk a lot about the two-way prayer.
Mhm.
Um, just to ask, like, is that praying and meditating, or how does that work?
So how it works is what I do, and different people have different techniques, but I will write the date at the top of a page. For myself, they recommend you do some kind of reading that's kind of inspirational, whatever. And so I do that First Corinthians 13, the one about love. I
Yeah.
read that every morning, and then what I do is I start with a very short gratitude list, like one paragraph of things that are part of my prayers for, things, mostly things, not that I have, but things that I'm grateful I have any of, like patience and kindness and faith and everything. And then what I do is I will ask a question, like today's question was, how can I love completely today?
Mm.
And then they say to take like 3 deep breaths. So I kind of like flex on the way into the breath and really relax on
Sorry,
the way
how
out.
do you know which questions you're going to ask yourself?
I don't know which question, but I feel like I will reflect briefly on what my
And
day is.
okay.
You
And
know,
then I see.
today, do I need to love completely? Is there something I really need to surrender? How could I
Ooh.
listen better today? Like the main two that I find myself on is how can I deepen my surrender and how can I love completely? Those are like, honestly, I've come to the point now that I see those two things, like when they say keep it simple in the program, if I can surrender more deeply and love more completely, I don't have fucking anything else to worry about. There's nothing else I need to worry about than those two things in my day every day. And when I'm calibrating my actions, I'm putting it against that. So I'll ask the question. I'll take like 3 deep kind of flexing and releasing breaths, kind of like, that exercise when you pretend you're holding a rope and you let go to surrender.
Yeah.
And then I just start stream of consciousness writing responses to that. And that's kind of like the two-way prayers, that you're channeling your higher power, maybe your intuition, whatever it is. And then you look at those answers and you kind of put them against the 4 absolutes of honest, pure, unselfish, and loving. And once you filter against those, any bullshit self-seeking ones are gone. They're gone. Zzz, zzz. You can't pretend time it. And so, yeah, I've done that almost every day since the beginning of July. I had a few days off when I was really sick here with the Panoni, and I missed 1 day in September. Yeah, that's that.
I really like it. This is something I want to incorporate into my
There's a
life.
there's a really good book on it. Like, first of all, if you go to twowayprayer.org, you can download 2 little couple page PDFs that are instructions. And that's enough. I did get a book called How to Listen to God by Wally Patton, and that's another one. But you don't need that. Like honestly, it's really about the cycle of asking the question and just seeing what answers flow through you. Much like when you're walking down a road and you do something wrong, your intuition fucking is like, Shannon, that ain't the right thing. And a lot of times, yeah, you can cover it up, but deep inside your heart when something's not right. And there's just an element to this. Like, to anybody out there who's agnostic, I'm telling you that even if you don't believe in God, you will believe in your intuition by the end of this exercise.
Mhm.
And whether you want to call it God or your intuition, it doesn't matter, because both ones know what's right or wrong. Like, you know, like, you don't need to run away from it because it says prayer. Like, that's all my point is on that one.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I never run away when I hear the word prayer because it doesn't freak me out. But for some
I
people
know,
that do, I
but I'm
completely
telling you,
understand.
there's a lot of people out there that do. I think that was a great little nugget. I think we should leave that there. I'm hoping I'm going to get to see you next Saturday. Are you available?
Without my phone in front of me, let's
Okay.
take this
Okay.
offline and we
Yeah.
will absolutely
Okay.
confirm when our next one will be.
Okay. Well, I love you tons, Shannon, and you have a great Saturday. And
You
everybody out
too.
there, tune in next episode for more recovery fun.
Bye,
Bye bye,
recovery
everybody.
queen.
Please help us help others. If you like what you've seen here today, please subscribe and share this podcast and help us get to 100 followers. We're looking for interaction with our audience. So please email recoveryfreedomrising@gmail.com or contact Milan South Okanagan Starcic on Facebook with questions, topic suggestions, or just comments. We'd love to hear from you.